Pre-colonial Zimbabwe was a hellhole, filled with warring tribes and no technological advancements, not even the wheel. The strategy among the native population was to have as many children as possible, and if they were lucky, 2 would survive. British settlers were interested in the mines found in Zimbabwe, and were able to negotiate with the locals for mining rights. The colony of Rhodesia was founded. Quality of life for the Zimbabweans that chose to engage with the Rhodesians improved immensely. Their children no longer died en masse. Wars between the tribes were stopped. Zimbabweans that did not wish to assimilate the Rhodesians could stay in tribal trust lands, as was their right. Life was so good in Rhodesia that 1/3 of its black population were immigrants from the neighboring African states. Rhodesia became the breadbasket of Africa. But Rhodesia was not perfect. It was not a true democracy. The Rhodesians knew that democracies are an expensive social technology that cannot be imposed on a people foreign to it. Institutions need to be built up first and social trust gained, otherwise a democracy would fall, as happened to the unfortunate colonies who adopted majority rule too fast. So Rhodesians made it so only literate property owners could vote. This resulted in their small white population having near total control of the government. Simultaneously, they invested heavily into educating their native population so that they could eventually participate. The issue was a demographic one. The Zimbabweans kept up their past breeding practices, but now their children actually survived. Their population exploded, but they did not have the means to sustain so many children. This excess population became dependent on social welfare, funded almost entirely by its tiny white population, and eventually, Rhodesia simply could not afford the social welfare. This resulted in many young disaffected Zimbabweans who were easily radicalized. 2 major Marxist terrorist groups emerged as a result: ZIPRA, led by Nkomo, and ZANLA, led by Mugabe. They specifically targeted people who couldn't fight back: women and children, as well as missionaries and members of the Red Cross. The framing that the Rhodesian Bush War was a white versus black majority conflict is nonsense propaganda. The majority of the Rhodesian army was black. The terrorists were equally invested into killing each other and their fellow Africans as they were into killing white Rhodesians. The Rhodesians won every major engagement, but the war was unwinnable, as the international community demonized the Rhodesians as a racist regime, sanctioned them, and began to fund the terrorists. ZANLA, led by Mugabe, ultimately won in 1979. The first thing he did was genocide Nkomo's tribe and wipe out the last of ZIPRA. He then took the farms and wealth from white people and rival tribes and gave it to his loyalists. His loyalists proved unable to tend those farms, and now the Zimbabweans starved to death on the streets, their human rights completely trampled. Modern black Zimbabweans openly talk about how much better life was under Rhodesia, and in an effort to save their ruined economy, are now offering whites reparations for the atrocities they suffered, hoping they'll come back to fix their situation.